Hi students, we have completed the first module of SATMath, that is Heart of Algebra. Now we proceed to the second module, that is Problem Solving and Data Sufficiency. First chapter of this second module shall be Ratios. So ratios is nothing but comparison through division. What I mean when I say comparison through division? Okay, so let me explain you this through an example. Let's suppose I went to a fancy shop and I bought two pens from that shop. One of the pen was $10 worth and another pen was $15 worth. The $10 pen was the red pen and $15 pen was a blue one. Now how do I compare the prices of the two? This one very easy way to compare them is comparison through difference. What I say that the price of the blue pen is $5 more than that of red pen, or I can say that the price of the red pen is $5 less than a blue pen. What I have done is that I have found this comparison through difference between those two prices of the two pens. Now let us suppose in this pen there was also a very expensive pen. This pen worth $100 and it was a green pen. Now I want to compare between the red pen and the green pen. If I am comparing it through difference, what I am going to say is that the price of the green pen is $90 more than red pen. Or what I am going to say is that the price of the red pen is $90 less than the green one. What I have done this time again is compared these two quantities through difference. However, there is a better way how I can compare them. What if I could have said that the green pen, the price of the green pen is 10 times as much as a red pen's price, or I would have said that the price of a red pen is one tenth times to that of a green pen. Now what have I done this time? This time I have compared the prices of the two, however, through division. So this comparison of two quantities through division is called ratios. So in ratios, what knowledge comes to your mind is about how many times. If a comparison has been done through division and it provides you the knowledge of how many times, then it is called ratios. Okay. Now, have you ever read in a book that a tiger runs 100 miles per hour more than a man? No. What you would have studied rather that the speed of a tiger is 5 times or 6 times more than that of a man. Why is that so? Because generally when the two quantities that you are comparing, one of them is sufficiently large than the other, the better way to compare between these two quantities is through division, that is through ratios. Now ratios are written as, for example, the speed of tiger and speed of a man can be written as speed of a tiger divided by speed of a man equals to 5/1 or 5:1 or simply 5:1. These three ways, that is in the fraction format or through column format or through this linguistic statement 5:1, you can express ratios. Okay, so now let's come back to the first example of pens that we discussed. So we again have these two pens, the red pen and the blue pen. The red pen's cost is $10 and the blue pen's cost is $15. Now you want to compare these two pens through ratios, through division. So what you are going to do is that you are going to make equation. You are going to write is that the price of the red pen divided by price of the blue pen equals to 10/15. You have made this is a ratio equation. The left hand side must be equals to the right hand side. Now let's simplify this fraction of the right hand side. 10/15 is nothing but 2/3. So the ratio of price of the red pen to price of the blue pen equals to 2/3. I can also write it as 2/3 or 2:3 or simply 2:3. In language, I could have written it as price of the red pen is 2/3 times to that of blue pen. Similarly, if a ratio is true, then its inverse ratio is also true. What I mean when I say that this statement that inverse ratio is also true. Now suppose if you just inverse this whole thing and you write something like this: price of a blue pen divided by price of red pen equals to 15 by 10. You just simplify this fraction, 15 by 10, it comes to 3 by 2. Then price of blue pen. You can also write in the linguistic terms that the price of blue pen is 3 by 2 times the price of red pen, or you could have written that the price of red pen is 2 by 3 times the price of the blue pen. So you see that these two statements are in fact one and the same. So if a ratio is true, then its inverse ratio is also true. Now, apart from this, there is nothing much more about understanding of the ratios. However, whenever the problem of the ratios comes in the problem, you must first know that how to write the ratio equation. So in all the ratio problems, you must know that how to write these ratio equations that I have told you. Now, let's understand more about ratios through problem solving. The first problem, this one is a simple problem. Now this problem says that in a class that comprises of boys and girls only as students, the number of boys is 10 and number of girls is 30. Now what is the ratio of number of boys to that of all students in the class? Now in this problem, what you have to do is that simply write the equation of the ratio. How do you do it is, you write towards the left hand side is the number of boys in the class divided by total number of students equals to number of boys in the class are how many? 10 divided by number of students, but we do not know the number of students in the class. Okay, reread this statement. The first statement of the problem says that this is a class and that comprises of only boys and girls. So the total number of students must be equals to total number of boys plus total number of girls. That is equals to 10 plus 30, that is equals to 40. So the total number of students in the class equals to 40. You write 40 in the denominator and you have is number of boys divided by total number of students equals to 10 by 40. You simplify this equals to 1 by 4. So the ratio of number of boys to that of all students is 1 by 4. Now you see that some students just go very fast and simply write that the number of ratios is 1 by 3. However, see that is not 1 by 3. You must read the question very carefully before giving answers to any problem. Now the same question can be rephrased in another manner, and similarly different thing can be asked. Suppose the second question, and this question is that in a class comprising of boys and girls only as students, the total number of total students is 40. And the ratio of number of boys to number of girls is 1 by 3. How many boys and how many girls are there in the class? Now, this is also a ratio problem. And now, how do we go on to solve this problem? Okay, we have been given that there is a ratio. So we first write the ratio equation. What I'm going to write is the number of boys divided by number of girls. To make it simplify, I will simply write that B divided by G equals to 1 by 3. B is number of boys and G is number of girls. So I have this equation number 1. I'll write it as equation number 1. In the first statement of the problem, I have been given that the number of boys and number of girls equals to 40. What it means by that is the B plus G equals to 40. So I have the second equation, that is B plus G equals to 40. Now from the first equation, I can cross multiply it, and what I will have is the 3B equals to G. Now this value of G I'm putting into the second equation, and the second equation comes out to be B plus 3B equals to 40, or 4B equals to 40, or B equals to 10. So the number of boys in the class was 10. Put this number of boys 10 in any of the equation and you will have the number of girls G equals to 30. So see how we solve this problem. In every problem of the ratio, you must know how to write the equation of the ratio. Now, a rather more difficult question, the next problem. Now, this next problem says that Katie was asked by his mother to bring equal number of apples and oranges from the market. However, she mistakenly brought 5 apples extra from market, making the ratio of apples and to oranges equal to 4 by 3. How many apples were asked by Katie's mother to bring? Now, in this problem, we have two situations. In the case 1, the situation 1, Katie's mother asked her to bring equal number of apples and equal number of oranges. In the second case, she brings extra number of apples, and now the ratio has distorted. This ratio have become 4/3. So the case 1, in the case 1, say the number of apples she was supposed to bring was X. How many oranges she was supposed to bring? Same number of, that is X. Now in the case 2, I'm writing the ratio equation. So the number of apples she actually brought from the market divided by the number of oranges she actually brought equals to 4/3. Number of apples she actually brought is what? X plus 5. So X plus 5 divided by X equals to 4/3. You cross multiply this equation, and what you have come out is 3x plus 15 equals to 4x, or X equals to 15. So she was supposed to bring 15 number of apples and 15 number of oranges. However, mistakenly she brought 20 number of apples. Now the ratio of apples and oranges has become 20/15, that is 4/3. So that's, you see that how we solve this problem. We brought out the equation of the ratio and then we went on to solve the problem. Now similarly, the next problem. The next problem says that the John bought 120 number of shares of firm A and 30 number of shares of firm B from stock market. If he buys 100 more shares of firm A, how many more shares of firm B should he buy so that 4/5 of the total number of shares are of firm A? Now in this problem also we have been given two situations. In the first situation, case 1, I'll say is that he bought, say, the firm A, he bought total 120 number of shares, and of firm B he bought 30 number of shares. In the case B, when he additionally bought 100 more shares of firm A, the total number of shares of firm A now is 120 plus 100 equals to 220, and that of firm B is 30 plus X. This X is what the question wants us to know. How many extra shares of B he bought so that this ratio of stocks of firm A to the total has become 4/5. So I'm writing the ratio equation, that is shares of firm A divided by total number of shares equals to 4/5. Shares of firm A is how much? In the case 2 we are talking is 220. So 220 total number of shares, 220 plus 30 plus X. So 220 divided by 220 plus 30 plus X equals to 4/5. Now you have the equation. One X is not known to you, you can solve this. Once you solve this through calculator, the value of X shall come out be equal to 25. So if he could have bought 25 more shares, the share of firm A to the total number of shares shall become 4/5. So the next problem. This next problem is that 4 different types of fabric shirts were bought by an apparel store owner for his store. These shirts were made up of cotton, wool, polyester and blended fabric. Of these shirts, 1/3 were cotton fabric, 1/4 were woolen shirts, and half of the remaining shirts were of polyester fabric. If 240 shirts were bought by the apparel store owner, how many of them were of blended fabric? So in this problem there are many ratios have been provided to us. The first ratio that has been provided to us is that of total number of cotton shirts to total number of shirts. So what I'm going to write is this ratio equation: total number of cotton shirts divided by total number of shirts equals to 1/3. And the total the number of cotton shirts I don't know, but total number of shirts I know is 240 equals to 1/3. I just solved this and I have is the total number of cotton shirts. That comes out to be 240/3 equals to 80. Similarly, I can get the number of woolen shirts. Number of woolen shirts divided by total number of shirts equals to 1/4, or I put it total number of woolen shirts divided by 240 equals to 1/4, or I get total number of woolen shirts equals to 240/4. That is nothing but 60. Now in this next statement, it was given that the half of the remaining shirts were made up of polyester fabric. Half of the remaining shirts means 240 minus cotton shirts minus woolen shirts. 240 minus 80 minus 60 is, so the remaining shirts comes out to be equals to 240 minus 140, or equals to simply 100. So the number of polyester shirts is how much? Half of those remaining, that is 100 by 2 or 50. Now in the problem we have been asked is the total number of blended fabric shirts. So the total number of blended fabric shirts equals to total shirts minus cotton shirts minus woolen shirts minus polyester shirts, that is 240 minus 80 minus 60 minus 50, that should come out to be equals to 50. So total 50 blended shirts the apparel store owner bought. So that's all about the ratio. Next in the next chapter we will study about proportions.